Before we begin, subscribe to Mental Fitness Zone if you want ideas that challenge your thinking, strengthen your mental fitness, and help you understand the forces shaping your decisions. Every day, you make choices about what to believe, what to pursue, what to avoid, and how to respond to life. But how free are those choices? Are you genuinely choosing, or are your decisions being shaped by your biology, upbringing, environment, emotions, habits, and past experiences? Free will forces us to confront one of the deepest questions about human existence. How much control do we really have over our lives? Free will is the capacity to make intentional choices and exercise some control over your actions. It is the idea that you are not merely a passive product of circumstances, but can participate in determining what you do next. Philosophers have debated this question for centuries. Determinism suggests that events, including human decisions, may arise from preceding causes. Other theories defend stronger forms of human agency, while compatibilism argues that meaningful freedom can exist even when our actions have causes. The debate ultimately asks what conditions must exist for a decision to genuinely belong to the person making it. To apply free will, begin by becoming aware of the forces influencing your decisions. Your childhood can shape your beliefs, your culture can influence your values, your environment can affect your behavior, and your emotions can change your judgment. Habits can also make you act automatically without much conscious thought. Recognizing these influences does not automatically eliminate your freedom. Instead, awareness gives you the opportunity to examine those influences and decide whether you want to continue following them. One of the most practical ways to exercise free will is to create a pause between impulse and action. When anger appears, pause before responding. When fear appears, examine it before allowing it to control your behavior. When you want to procrastinate, ask whether following that impulse serves your long-term goals. You may not control every thought or emotion that enters your mind, but you can often influence what you do with it. That small pause can become the space where conscious choice begins. Free will becomes even more powerful through self-discipline. Having choices is not the same as having control over yourself. If every immediate desire determines your behavior, your freedom becomes limited by your impulses. Discipline allows you to choose according to long-term values rather than temporary cravings. Studying when you want to procrastinate, exercising when you want to remain inactive, or finishing important work when distractions are available are all practical examples of turning intention into deliberate action. Another way to apply free will is to examine your beliefs and assumptions. Ask yourself why you believe what you believe. Did the idea come from your parents, culture, education, friends, personal experiences, or your own investigation? You do not need to reject everything you inherited. Instead, examine it carefully. A belief becomes more genuinely yours when you have consciously evaluated it rather than simply accepting it because it was given to you. Intellectual independence is an important expression of personal agency. One major advantage of free will is personal responsibility. When you recognize that your decisions can influence your life, you become more focused on what you can actually do. You cannot control every circumstance, but you can often influence your habits, preparation, reactions, decisions, and next steps. Responsibility does not mean blaming yourself for everything that happens. It means identifying where your choices matter and refusing to surrender that influence unnecessarily. Free will can also strengthen resilience. Life can place you in situations you never chose and cannot immediately change. But even when you cannot control the situation, you may still have choices about how you respond. You can learn from failure, change your strategy, seek help, develop new skills, or try again. Resilience grows when you understand that difficult circumstances can restrict your options without completely eliminating your ability to respond. However, free will should not be confused with absolute control. You cannot choose your past, your birthplace, your genetics, other people's decisions, or every environmental condition affecting you. You also cannot guarantee an outcome simply because you choose it. Human freedom operates within constraints. A mature understanding of free will therefore asks not, can I control everything? But what can I influence, and what can I choose within the circumstances I have? Free will is important because it also affects how we understand morality and accountability. If people possess meaningful control over their actions, then responsibility becomes possible. At the same time, behavior is influenced by biology, upbringing, social conditions, experiences, incentives, and circumstances. Understanding these influences does not necessarily eliminate responsibility, but it can make our judgments more thoughtful. We can recognize both the causes behind behavior and the importance of human agency. The deeper importance of free will is that it encourages you to become an active participant in your own development. Instead of believing that your past completely determines your future, ask what you can change now. You can choose which habits to strengthen, which influences to reduce, which skills to develop, which values to follow, and which direction to pursue. You may not control where your life began, but your decisions can influence where it goes. Your past may explain you, but it does not necessarily have to completely define your next decision. Ultimately, whether humans possess absolute free will remains one of philosophy's deepest questions. But you can still strengthen your practical agency, regardless of where you stand in that debate. Examine what influences you. Question automatic reactions. Create space between impulse and action. Develop self-discipline. Take responsibility for what you can control and accept what you cannot. Freedom may not mean having unlimited choices. It may mean developing enough awareness and self-control to choose wisely within the reality you have been given. If this exploration of free will challenge the way you think about choice, responsibility, and human potential, subscribe to Mental Fitness Zone for more.